before exporting it to China, which will face a second layer of taxation. And finally, China will export the CPU back to the United States, where it will face a third layer of taxation, taxation upon taxation upon taxation of American manufacturing goods. Do you think that kind of compounding taxation of American manufacturing goods like Intel CPU will strengthen or weaken American manufacturing?
Sir, I just want to be clear. You're saying that taxes raise costs.
I'm sorry?
Sir, you're saying that taxes raise costs.
Taxing the intermediate goods that go into a manufactured products raise costs, yes.
You're saying that taxes are inflationary.
Taxes are inflation, yes.
Good, then we should cut
in the context of tariffs, yes.
Then we should cut taxes, and you should join the...
Can you answer my question about the tax?
A sharp and at times biting exchange played out on Capitol Hill as New York Congressman Ritchie Torres took aim at President Trump's tariff policy and pressed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on a deceptively simple question: who really pays for tariffs? If you want clear explanations of economic policy without the spin, make sure you subscribe so you do not miss our coverage.
The gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. During so-called Liberation Day, Donald Trump imposed tariffs on territories populated not by humans but by penguins. He imposed tariffs on countries with which the United States runs a trade surplus, not a trade deficit. He imposed tariffs on products that cannot be produced domestically, which means a higher cost for American consumers without any benefit to American manufacturers. He imposed tariffs on impoverished nations like Lesotho, which cannot afford to buy as much from us as we buy from them. If President Joe Biden had put in place these absurd tariffs, every single Republican, without exception, would have condemned his trade policy as the height of incompetence. And you, Mr. Bessent, would have joined that chorus of criticism. There's no doubt in my mind. But swap out Biden's name for Trump's, and suddenly the moral outrage from Republicans vanishes like magic. I have a simple yes or no question. Do you think excessive taxation undermines the competitiveness of American manufacturing?
Yes, sir.
Now, the Trump tariff regime is a breeding ground for the excessive taxation of American manufacturing. Consider as an example Intel's manufacturing of CPUs. Intel sources foreign components, which is subject to the first layer of taxation. It then manufactures the CPUs in the United States before exporting it to China, which will face a second layer of taxation. And finally, China will export the CPU back to the United States, where it will face a third layer of taxation, taxation upon taxation upon taxation of American manufacturing goods. Do you think that kind of compounding taxation of American manufacturing goods like Intel CPU will strengthen or weaken American manufacturing?
Sir, I just want to be clear. You're saying that taxes raise costs.
I'm sorry?
Sir, you're saying that taxes raise costs.
Taxing the intermediate goods that go into a manufactured products raise costs, yes.
You're saying that taxes are inflationary.
Taxes are inflation, yes.
Good, then we should cut
in the context of tariffs, yes.
Then we should cut taxes, and you should join the...
Can you answer my question about the tariffs?
In the tax bill.
Can you answer my questions about the tariffs?
I'm not sure I understand.
CPU's Intel would face Intel CPU would face 3 levels of taxation: the taxes on the foreign components, the U.S. taxes, and the Chinese taxes, or the Chinese tariffs. Do you think that kind of compounded taxation hinders or helps American manufacturing?
I think that strategic American manufacture is very important, like Intel, and I think we have to bring that back to the U.S.
Do you think taxing intermediate goods that go inside American manufactured products helps or hinders manufacturing?
I believe that, as the Intel example you give, we have to bring these strategic industries back to the U.S.
We're not going to bring every component. A Boeing aircraft, 747, has 6 million components. There is no universe in which we're going to manufacture all 6 million components in the United States. And so if you impose a tax on those foreign components, you are hindering the manufacturing of Boeing 747 here in the United States. Do you even acknowledge that?
I acknowledge that the supply chains, they are wide, but we've also, for the automakers, we have given an exemption.
I'm not asking about the automakers. I'm asking about Boeing aircraft.
Exemption for
Let me move on. Critical minerals are essential to the military defense of the United States. China controls almost all of the world's rare earth mining and almost all of the world's critical mineral processing and refining. The Trump administration has chosen to wage a total trade war with China without first building a critical mineral supply chain here at home. Right? Just like it would be foolish to enter a car race without enough fuel in the tank, or enter a weightlifting competition without sufficient strength to lift the weights. It seems equally foolish to wage an all-out trade war on China without a domestic critical mineral supply chain, breaking China's strongest chokehold over the United States. The CCP's chokehold on critical minerals and rare earth elements is a precondition for winning the trade war against China. Do you agree with that?
I believe that we have to bring the rare earth, as you correctly said, processing back, or not even back to the U.S. We have
It's not only processing, it's rare earth mining as well. And it's critical mineral processing and refining.
strategic minerals.
And the weaponization of critical minerals against the United
rare earths
States
are
is
not
the
that-
opposite of making America safe again.
Rare earths are not that rare. Processing is rare.
The mining is rare too. We have a insufficient mining industry here in the United States, and you know that.
Good, then I'll hope you'll join us in the deregulation of many of these onerous mining requirements.
I think my time has expired.
Torres opened with a point that immediately grabbed attention. He noted that during what the Trump administration dubbed Liberation Day, tariffs were imposed not just on major trading partners, but on remote territories with no meaningful industrial activity, and even on countries where the United States actually runs a trade surplus. His argument was not rhetorical flair. It was meant to underscore what he described as a scattershot approach to trade policy that does not distinguish between strategic competitors and economically insignificant partners. Torres went further, pointing out that some of the targeted goods simply cannot be produced domestically. In those cases, tariffs do not protect American jobs or encourage new factories. They simply raise prices for American consumers. That distinction is critical and often lost in political debates about trade. Subscribe now if you want these economic nuances explained in plain language. Torres then framed the issue in political terms, arguing that had President Biden enacted the same tariff regime, Republicans would have condemned it as economic malpractice. His broader point was about consistency and accountability, not party labels. From there, Torres zeroed in on a fundamental economic principle. He asked Secretary Bessent whether excessive taxation undermines the competitiveness of American manufacturing. Bessent agreed. That answer set the stage for the heart of Torres's argument. Torres walked through a real-world example involving Intel. Many American manufacturers rely on global supply chains. Intel imports foreign components, assembles and manufactures products in the United States, exports them abroad, and in some cases, those finished goods come back into the U.S. market. Under a tariff-heavy regime, each step can be taxed. First on imported components, then potentially on exports through retaliatory tariffs, and finally again when goods re-enter the United States. Torres described it as taxation on top of taxation on top of taxation. His question was simple but powerful. Does that kind of compounding cost structure help or hurt American manufacturing? Bessent repeatedly tried to pivot to broader goals, like reshoring strategic industries. Torres pressed back, emphasizing that not every component can be made domestically. He pointed to Boeing as an example. A single commercial aircraft contains millions of parts sourced globally. There is no realistic scenario in which all of those components are produced in the United States. By taxing those imported parts, Torres argued, the government makes it more expensive to build planes in America, weakening U.S. manufacturing rather than strengthening it. That point gets to the core misunderstanding many people have about tariffs. Tariffs are not paid by foreign countries. They are paid by importers, manufacturers, and ultimately consumers. If you want honest explanations of who really bears these costs, subscribe to the channel. The conversation then shifted to national security and critical minerals. Torres highlighted a vulnerability that economists and defense experts have warned about for years. China dominates the mining, processing, and refining of rare earth elements and critical minerals that are essential for everything from smartphones to fighter jets. Torres argued that launching an all-out trade war with China without first building a domestic critical mineral supply chain is strategically reckless. He compared it to entering a race without fuel or a competition without strength. The analogy resonated because it captured the sequencing problem. You cannot cut yourself off from a dominant supplier before you have viable alternatives. Torres closed by suggesting that serious investment and regulatory reform would be required to rebuild domestic mining and processing capacity. Without that foundation, tariffs alone cannot deliver economic security or manufacturing resilience. This exchange highlights something often missing from tariff debates. Trade policy is not just about punishment or leverage. It is about supply chains, costs, timing, and national capacity. When those factors are ignored, tariffs can backfire, raising prices at home while weakening the very industries they are supposed to protect. We will continue to track how these tariff policies affect American manufacturers and consumers alike. Subscribe so you stay informed as these debates move from hearings to real-world consequences.